When my older sister used to mouth off as a kid, my mom would say, "Young lady, you need an attitude check." That was her way of signaling that my sister's perspective needed an adjustment. But what if we actually did attitude checks? What if you woke up in the morning and actually checked your attitude, and then periodically throughout the day you gave yourself another attitude check? How much quicker would you move towards where you want to go? Today I'm going to walk you through how to perform a real attitude check, one that examines both how you talk to yourself and how you relate to others. By the end of this episode, you'll have practical tools to shift your attitude in ways that can dramatically accelerate your progress and improve the quality of your relationships, especially as you build your business. Let's start with your attitude toward yourself. One of the simplest ways to figure out your attitude is by paying attention to the words you use. How often do you say things like, "I can't," "maybe," "I don't know," or "I should," versus "I can," "I will," "I know," or "I'll make time," instead of "I don't have the time"? What is the vocabulary you use to speak to yourself? What types of things do you say to yourself? Do you put yourself down, or do you pull yourself up? Are you constantly engaged in an inner dialogue that you're not even paying attention to, yet it's running your life? This is something it took me years to learn. When I was married, my ex-husband used to tell me, "Do you realize the first 2 words out of your mouth every morning are 'I'm tired'?" I hadn't realized that, but once I started paying attention, I discovered that what was really behind those words was, "I don't feel like I'm ready to face today." So I would start every single morning with these 2 words that told me I was not equipped to face the day and should just go back to bed. How was that setting me up to succeed? From there, I'd enter into should land. You should have gotten up and gone for a run. You should have exercised. You should have gotten up the first time the alarm went off. Come on, Melly. My business coach says, stop shooting all over yourself. What you're doing in should land is really telling yourself that you've underperformed according to the arbitrary expectation that you've set for yourself. Should land is a place you can only go for one thing. For me, it was proving to myself that I'd already failed. That by 7:30 in the morning, I had already failed at multiple things. How was that setting me up for success? My next act in the morning was getting dressed. And Lord, that was dramatic. This shirt doesn't fit me the way it used to. I put on some weight. My arms look fat. Look at that flab hanging under them. These pants are too tight. All that internal bullying just to say that I'd failed at yet another thing. Now, why am I getting into this? Because I know I'm not the only person in the world who's dealt with this negative self-talk. And I'm hoping that if you're still dealing with it, you'll start to pay attention. Get to what's underlying it. What's that core belief that you prove to yourself time and time again that sets you up to experience life as a series of underperformances? So, part 1 of your attitude check is just looking at your inner dialogue. Examine those things you say to yourself on a consistent basis, and then look at what's behind them. The second part of the attitude check is your attitude towards others. For others too, you're either a buoy or an anchor. You're either dragging people down or you're pulling them up. There are 2 ways we drag people down. The first is by listening to them before they actually speak, which means we apply our own perspective to their experiences before they've even shared it. Have you ever had someone finish your sentence, but it's not what you were going to say? Like, come on, man, let me tell my story. I hear people do this in business all the time. I hear people do this with clients. So let people speak and express themselves in their own words instead of judging where the conversation's going to go. The second way we become an anchor rather than a buoy for people is by creating expectations. What if we could relate to people without expectations? What if I gave to someone with complete disinterest from a genuine place of giving? Have you ever had someone preempt a request with, "Remember how I helped you? like they're keeping a ledger of favors. Well, I did that thing for them, so now they have to do a thing for me. That's what expectations are. A gap between what you thought someone should do or say and what they actually did or said. You're holding this account, this ledger, between what you thought, secretly in your mind, that reality would look like and what it actually looks like. And then you're attributing the difference to the other person. I'm still learning this one. Today is Sunday, and I had set up a meeting with a client that needed some help on a tech issue that during the week we just couldn't work on. And so me and my tech guy were online on Sunday, and my client showed up, and we tested, and it wasn't working. And then I asked, "Are you using your phone to try to do this?" And they said, "Yeah, I'm at my son's swim meet." And I felt myself getting frustrated with an internal dialogue that sounded like, "You just wasted an hour of my time and my team's time on a Sunday?" And I caught myself. What was frustrating me was the expectation. But what about their expectation? It wasn't working because I didn't specify that they needed to be on a computer with stable Wi-Fi and in an undistracted place. So imagine how frustrating it was for them that it wasn't working. Expectations can ruin relationships. They can ruin your day. And if you let them, they can ruin an entire season of your life. This isn't just about personal relationships. Again, it's also true with clients. If you help someone out, do you think they now owe you something? "Oh, I gave her a 90-minute free coaching session. Now she better sign up for one of my programs." Can you imagine that? Yet that's how so many people show up. Even when creating content, I've heard people say, "Well, I've created so much valuable content," as if there's now an imbalance that needs to be corrected. Don't do business with expectations of others. What should you do instead of setting expectations with your clients? Make simple agreements. Steve Chandler has a famous audio on expectations versus agreements. If anyone messages me, you can DM me on LinkedIn. I'll send you a link to it. But essentially, your expectations exist only in your mind, and others don't even know they exist. Your client doesn't know they were supposed to be on a computer with stable Wi-Fi, or to approve something within 24 hours. You have to reach an agreement with them and say, "Hey, I'll send you this, and I need a response within 24 hours so we can continue to move forward on this project without any further delays." If they agree to that and the time comes and they haven't responded, then they've broken their agreement, not your hidden expectation. You can then say, "Look, we agreed to you approving this by Thursday. It's Friday and I haven't heard from you. Can we reach a new agreement?" No one likes to have broken their agreements, so chances are they'll preempt you with an email saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Can we reschedule for noon today?" The biggest problem with expectations is that 90% of them are secrets in your mind that you haven't told the other person about. They're just supposed to know somehow. These secrets created within your mind come through the lens of your perspective only. Most of the people who drive you nuts do so because they don't meet your expectations. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have standards. It means let others in on those standards. Say to your team, your staff, your contractors, "This is how we do things here." Also, realize that maybe your expectations aren't realistic. For example, I used to get frustrated with graphic designers because I would send them copy and they'd put it in and do excellent design work, but there would be so many spelling and grammar errors everywhere. It frustrated me to no end because I had the expectation that they would proofread their work. But you know what? They're graphic designers, not copywriters or editors. I had to professionalize my team and bring in editors and copywriters because proofreading wasn't part of the designer's skill set. If I wanted a graphic designer who would also edit text, I'd have to pay them what I pay an editor plus what I pay a designer. So, give yourself a daily attitude check. First, examine how you talk to yourself. Are you building yourself up or tearing yourself down? Second, look at how you relate to others. Are you a buoy or an anchor? Are you creating unspoken expectations that set everyone else up for failure? Don't show up with these secrets in your mind of what the standards should be, what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable. They're only based on your experience, and they can limit the performance of everyone around you as well as your own, and they can affect the quality of your relationships. Instead, show up ready to reach agreements. Start your attitude check today. You might be surprised at how quickly things begin to shift when you adjust your perspective towards yourself and others. I'm Melissa Marchand, helping accomplished professionals build consulting businesses they love. If you know someone who wants to build stronger relationships with new clients, please share this episode.